Totoligans, kita kembali ke acara BTW, Bola Total Weekly, dan kita akan ngebahas what happened weekend kemarin di dunia sepak bola. So, kita mau start dari mana? Apa kita mau start dari PSG kalah? Atau kita mau start dari Barcelona kalah? Or kita mau start dari Arsenal kalah?
Let's save the best thing for last gitu. Arsenal kita kalah terakhir aja. Kita ngomongin soal Barcelona aja kan. Gitu kan. Nah, Barcelona kalah lagi dari Madrid. Barcelona kalah.
Dan yang kedua lawan Madrid B.
Yang kedua lawan Madrid B ya. Kalah 3 kali dalam 2 minggu. Orang mikir apa ya? Is it the end of tiki-taka football or what's the future gitu buat Barcelona? Apakah eranya udah berakhir? Gue bilang sih, ya ini hanya semacam batu kerikil aja sih, kan nggak stabil gitu kan, fluktuatif. Dan emang tadi gue baca ada laporan statistik yang bilang bahwa dari 5 musim terakhir Barcelona itu kehilangan poin paling banyak di bulan Februari. Tapi jarak poin mereka sama Madrid terlalu gede di La Liga, dan gue rasa sih ya masih cukup susah lah untuk kejar sama Madrid. Tapi yang penting yang menarik adalah apakah kalahan ini bisa mengganggu kepercayaan diri dari Barcelona. Mereka minggu depan melawan AC Milan di Champions League, dan gue rasa ini cukup memukul sih buat mereka kalah lagi dari Madrid.
Oke. So, kemarin walaupun belum semua orang nonton, tapi PSG adalah salah satunya tim yang ada di Liga Prancis yang punya kekuatan finansial yang kuat banget. But kemarin PSG kalah, what happened?
First, nobody really watches PSG.
Nobody.
No, but we just know they're rich.
Because you ask, okay, I'm gonna answer. Again, mereka kalah dari apa namanya klubnya?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Nobody even cares about PSG. Apart from David Beckham and Zlatan Ibrahimovic is there.
Okay.
They make a lot of money from that. So
They make a lot of money gitu. Tadi apa pertanyaannya?
Okay, we're gonna jump. What happened when United lawan Norwich?
Oke, apa Rana mungkin mau jawab dulu, mungkin dari tadi gue ngomong jadi figuran di sebelah.
Yeah. The problem is our moderator didn't know when to, split, dari lo ke gua gitu. What do you think? But it's okay. It's second try, so I'm not complain. Look, I didn't really watch the game karena my mind was obsessed about the legend I heard in Kalimantan about some sort of Dayak warrior who supposedly could fly over a coconut tree.
Okay.
Apa Panglima Kumbang namanya?
Yeah.
So
Don't mention the name, man. Come on.
oh my god! Okay, so otak gue agak nggak fokus, but from what I see, and kalau ada orang bilang pengamat bola cukup nonton TV, saya pengamat bola cukup nonton Twitter aja timeline. Sorry, gue bukan pengamat bola, so I can question my own credibility. It seems like yang terjadi adalah two things ya. Was it a clean sheet by the way?
Yes.
Okay. 4-0 impressive. MU yang awal musim dibilang pertahanannya bobrok.
Yes.
They seem like they're getting their solidity back.
Okay.
And entah kenapa timingnya setelah pergantian tahun, in the crunch end gitu. And I think it was also a show of the strength in depth. Nah, setiap tim yang kuat punya yang namanya strength in depth. Tim A-nya kuat, tim B-nya kuat. Tiap ada pemain yang diganti, satu keluar yang masuk bisa main cemerlang. And yesterday the star of that show, I think from what I saw, lagi gue hanya melihat timeline, was the man yang di-hire untuk menjual baju di Jepang. Shinji Kagawa. Gue nggak tahu apakah semalamnya dia habis orgasme habis-habisan sama ceweknya yang konon bintang JAB.
Bukan konon yang beneran.
Oh emang?
Gue udah nonton videonya.
Iya. She any good?
American Nosa lumayan.
She any good? Okay. Well, apparently he must have been serviced really well because he had a great game, hat-trick, and this is probably ketika dia dibeli dari Dortmund, this is the type of performance that every Man United fan wanted to see, and he showed what he got. 3 goals, fantastic, and they sort of because the goals came from secondary sources, they could have rested their key players a little bit for the match against Madrid. So, I mean, and with City playing tonight, Monday, it's all looking good in Stratford End. It's all looking fantastic.
Itu tadi Rana udah nyinggung soal defense-nya United di awal musim ini kayak apa ya, leaking gitu, bocor kayak kakek-kakek lanjut usia yang perlu popok tuh karena dia ngompol terus dan ternyata popoknya datang dalam wujud Nemanja Vidic. Semenjak Vidic semua dari cedera, statistik pertahanan United tuh jadi lumayan baik lah. Dari 14 pertandingan terakhir mereka 7 kali clean sheet. Dan dalam 7 pertandingan sisanya itu mereka cuma kebobolan 1 gol, jadi itu bagus banget. Itu modal yang positif untuk lawan Madrid. nanti di Champions League gitu. Soal Shinji Kagawa, gue sebagai satu fans Kagawa, gue senang dengan bagaimana dia akhirnya bisa menunjukkan pengaruhnya.
He's got a hat-trick.
He got a hat-trick ya, dan menurut gue semua golnya dia sih dari sebuah finishing touch yang oke banget. Apalagi gol keduanya itu
It
was class. Itu kayak apa ya? Itu kayak
Tadi watch the game nonton banget.
itu kayak sinonimnya kalau di ini kalau
Continue.
your team well shut up.
Oke, continue. Tadi watch the game.
Oke, gue tadi mau bilang bahwa gol kedua Kagawa tuh finishing touch-nya tuh bisa gue samain sama ankle breaker gitu.
Oke.
Crossover kalau di basket. I think that's it.
Oke, next question. What happened sama Spurs Arsenal?
Gue rasa Rana punya legitimasi yang lebih untuk
Oke, well.
Oke.
Well, soal legitimasi gue bukan wajah fans Arsenal di Indonesia di sosial media ya. Jadi sebenarnya kredibilitas gue nggak tinggi-tinggi. Implicit jab to somebody.
Go on.
I won't say the name though. What happened was, first of all, it was a really exciting game. I think ya, if you're a neutral fan, tentunya kalau enggak lo deg-degan. Dua tim yang ketika sebelum gue tendang pada pertandingan itu, you saw the team sheets ya, really similar sebenarnya. Taktiknya sama, formasinya sama. And the funny thing is ketika lo main dua tim 4-2-3-1, 4-2-3-1, dua-duanya pakai high line, and they both wanna attack, okay? You don't get situasi di mana ketika kutub utara ketemu utara, dua-duanya cancelling out, gitu loh. They play to each other hand, gitu loh. Banyak banget peluang yang sebenarnya bisa terjadi. Kalau nggak karena final ball yang lebih baik, itu bisa lebih banyak banget aksi di depan gawang. But I think kesimpulan yang gue ambil dari pertandingan itu adalah in terms of executing the game plan, 4-2-3-1 highline passionnya, Tottenham jelas kelihatan sebagai tim yang lebih bisa bermain dengan format seperti itu.
Okay.
They had the runners, they had a keeper yang gak ragu buat maju sebelum ke depan, and menurut gue back mereka mainnya bagus banget. Secara posisi sangat tidak naif walaupun main di highline yang tinggi.
Vertonghen?
Iya, Vertonghen, special talent. I thought Dawson was good, but Vertonghen stands out ya. And I think seringkali dalam podcast kayak gini gue akan emosi marah-marah kebanyakan. But you know, I'm sort of tired to do that today. You know.
Okay.
But I don't fault him too much. Wenger, I mean, kalaupun dia akumulatif sifatnya for everything that led to this. But I do think at this sort of level, even if lo mau jadi tim yang sekedar aspirasi untuk jadi posisi keempat, okay, you cannot make the exact same mistake in the space of 6 minutes. Let's talk about the 2 goals, yeah. One from Gareth Bale, satu dari Aaron Lennon. Both are quick, tapi menurut gue dalam kepala mereka ketika mereka menemukan space kosong itu, mungkin they didn't even believe. Oh my god, it's this empty.
Bale pas dia dapat bola,
He's like, wow, you know.
Ya, dia pertama dia nengok kaki dia. Ini gue beneran onside nih.
Is this for real? You know.
This is heaven.
And the thing that annoys me too much is that it implies that the entire Arsenal backline, because there wasn't any real decoy run in my opinion.
Yes.
Gol pertama sempat ada Adebayor kembali posisi offside, but you know the entire backline, their attention was focused to the ball for some reason. It was a very simple run, and not only that, I mean, Duano, I remember a moment sebelum akhir babak kedua ya, kalau nggak salah, harus buat ingat banget by the way.
Sampai nonton sampai selesai.
It was just
It was
really good.
why is it? Okay. We saw a situation, okay, di mana Lennon dia ganti flank ke kiri, dia bawa bola dribble, and he was waiting to put that little ball over the top, and you had runners 1, 2, 3, and nobody was tracking these runners. He could have chose his man. Fortunately, he didn't, because whoever he would pick, he had 3 options. Would definitely be clear on goal because nobody was putting pressure on the ball, which is ironic di awal-awal Arsenal nge-press ke depan ya, and nobody was tracking the runs, and it's schoolboy thing, it's schoolboy defending. I will give credit, Tottenham did play well, But when you look at the goals, there is no way you cannot say that there wasn't an Arsenal defensive error in the goals. No way, absolutely no way.
Oke, so kemarin siapa pemain terbaik Arsenal?
Babak pertama entah kenapa Jenkinson.
Yeah, gue setuju.
Jenkinson, I thought he was really solid when you consider the amount of ground he had to cover.
Okay.
You know, but then again, Sigurdsson is probably not really a natural wide player. Right? Bale did play from the center, so it wasn't really Bale of Nazareth against Jenkinson, the antichrist gitu juga. Babak kedua, I enjoyed seeing Ramsey actually.
Okay.
But it was more about the guts, you know, the amount of effort he poured, you know. I actually thought Jack Wilshere had a poor game, especially ketika dia disuruh main jadi gelandang yang paling deep posisi. Because he had to run with the ball and time again he was harassed by Dembele and Parker, who actually I thought grew into the game walaupun awalnya agak poor. But then again credit, I think that match was bukti kalau Tottenham itu bukan tim yang hanya mengandalkan Gareth Bale, because he didn't have the best of games in my opinion. But the way he was utilized, and just Tottenham now they look like a team. Gua akan kaget if they bottle it up. I do want them to bottle it up so we can sneak into the 4th position, but I'll be really surprised if that happens.
Okay. This year Spurs kan kayak ngejual Luka Modric, terus Van Vaart kan. Itu dianggap sebagai 2 pemain terbaik Spurs tahun lalu gitu kan. Gitu. Do you see kalau Spurs sekarang itu lebih kolektif? It's they look like a team sekarang.
I wouldn't say collective.
Okay.
I would say that this is I read in an article by Ian McIntosh. I talked about how they look like more like a team. I'm not implying that everything is shared, but they work for each other. Okay, they help each other, and that also comes down to good tactics, having a good system, and this team fits AVB system really well. A quote by Ian McIntosh was that perhaps sometimes you have to sacrifice fluidity for compactness, and that's what I feel when I see the Spurs team play. They look more like a unit. They may not have the exact same talent. I mean, Van der Vaart and Modric are good players, although Modric now is probably rotting in Madrid. But they look like they gel better with the system they're playing.
Yes.
They don't look like they have as many weaknesses as they did last time around.
Okay. Gua rasa kita harus ngasih kredit juga ke Andre Villas-Boas.
AVB.
Waktu dia point jadi manajernya Spurs, gua rasa nggak sedikit yang ngetawain kayak ngapain Spurs hire manajer yang gagal di Chelsea gitu kan. Tanpa melihat fakta bahwa musim lalu memang pemain Chelsea-nya aja sih yang kampret gitu kan, yang model kayak John Terry gitu. Nggak mau diatur. Satu, dua.
Gak punya kaki buat
emang gak punya kaki aja buat main defensive line gitu. Ya kan seperti itu. Jadi gue rasa Villas-Boas harus dikasih kredit karena orang ngomong kalau Bale jago banget gitu kan. Bale juga udah ada di Spurs pas zamannya Harry Redknapp gitu kan. Kenapa dia yang sejago itu gitu kan. There's something different gitu. This season, and it's that Portuguese guy Andre Villas-Boas.
He developed a system that got the best out of his players, especially Bale.
Yes, benar. But you know what guys, perhatiin nggak sih kalau kayak AVB juga belajar, like dia datang dari Porto, juara Europa League ya? Europa League, right? And then he went to a big club yaitu Chelsea gitu, dan dimana pemainnya nggak bisa diatur. Dan on the first day dia langsung bilang, you know what, I'm the boss here. Dan kita go camping untuk atur strategi, which was crazy gitu kan. And by the way, Roman itu kan dia benar-benar kayak cinta banget sama Lampard dan sama John Terry gitu kan gitu. So FVB saat itu kayak datang, I'm the new sheriff in town gitu. The sheriff in town adalah sebenarnya si John Terry sama Lampard sama Drogba gitu kan.
Kotanya immoral.
Terus tapi kita ada lihat perkembangan FVB gak sih? FVB sekarang ke Spurs dan dia lebih sekarang, dulu kan juga not a people person gitu kan. Dia nggak bisa kayak deketin orang, dia nggak bisa kayak ngomong sama orang gitu kan. Sekarang kita lebih ngeliat itu di dalam sebenarnya FVB di Spurs gitu.
Dan musim lalu di Chelsea si FVB bilang kalau ntar ada yang bikin gol, kita selebrasi bareng-bareng biar tim ngejel gitu. Dan dia diketawain lah ngomong kayak gitu kan. Waktu lawan West Ham, Gareth Bale ngegolin, gol yang terakhirnya yang luar biasa dari jarak jauh itu dia langsung lari ke AVP dan dia langsung meluk gitu kan. Lo nggak bisa bayangin, lo nggak bisa bayangin kan John Terry gitu tiba-tiba skor dari bikin gol dari corner dari 93 gitu ya. Tiba-tiba dia lari meluk Villas Boas gitu.
The one that would happen.
That's it. Senioritas masih berlaku di Chelsea.
And by the way, AVB itu umurnya cuma beda berapa bulan atau berapa?
He's younger than Lampard, older than Terry by 8 months.
That was crazy.
So, like Pange said, the expression at the end of the game said it all. But what I like about AVB is not only that, is the fact that sometimes there are coaches yang kayaknya stubborn banget, nggak bisa diubah pemikirannya. I will not say names. But some, there is no bell. There is no bell. I can't hear any bell. I heard he had a master's.
Does he hold a degree in economics?
Yeah, maybe he did. Okay, but what I like about him is that there was also an idea, and this is what I call the post-Mourinho Chelsea coach syndrome.
Okay.
Is that they want to distinguish themselves by playing a little bit differently, and I thought a little bit of that was in AVB's head while he was in Chelsea, introducing the Highland, which is his system, but applying it necessarily ke dalam suatu lingkungan yang belum cocok. Dan bisa aja taktik yang mau dimainin yang berbuah optimal, and that's what happened. But there is a pragmatism about AVB di mana dia berani mengubah taktik dia. The game against United, I think, away at Old Trafford for the win, he was willing to play more defensive and so on and so on. And I think that shows someone who isn't afraid to learn from his mistakes. And I think that is a great quality in any manager. I think that's actually what Ferguson has. That's what separates him from a coach I will not name. Okay, so I'm really impressed with what he has done this season, and if I were a neutral, sadly I'm not, I would wish him the best.
Okay, last question. Ini kan lagi hot banget ngomongin soal Gareth Bale gitu kan. Gareth Bale is mungkin jadi pemain terbaik Liga Inggris, if not Robin van Persie gitu kan. Gareth Bale wants to what?
He might nick it, isn't it?
Okay, Robin van Persie, Gareth Bale mungkin mau cabut ke Real Madrid gitu.
Well, okay.
Okay, the question is, apa sih yang buat Gareth Bale itu jago? Kenapa sih Gareth Bale dibilang jago? Why is he that good? Why? He scored what? 13 gol dalam 12 pertandingan atau something like that?
What does he eat for breakfast? Just kidding.
Apa yang membuat lo bilang this guy is good gitu?
Jadi kalau mau sebenarnya gini, kalau mau mengukur pemain jago apa enggak gitu kan, seberapa gede impactnya dia kepada timnya sih gitu. Dan golnya dia musim ini mengatrol Spurs dengan luar biasa.
Crunch goals gitu.
Betul.
Clutch.
Seperti kita tahu juga dulu Ronaldo melakukan hal yang sama pada United gitu kan, nyetak 40-an gol gitu dalam semusim. Dan pemain yang jago bukan cuma dihitung dari skillnya doang, gitu, karena gue yakin yang pemain yang skillnya banyak juga, yang skillnya hebat juga banyak. Tapi seberapa gede impact yang bisa dikasih ke timnya, itu yang bikin pemain itu hebat gitu. Dan dalam ukuran itu, Gareth Bale is among the best right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think dia lagi mengalami what you call annus mirabilis, that certain peak where everything seems to be right. I would put him top 10 player dunia sekarang.
Really?
How he's performing now? Yes,
Okay.
Definitely top 10.
Okay.
I mean, when you talk about the pace and the power, I know there's and he's added goals to his game. Yeah, he's playing from more central. Sebenarnya evolusi juga agak mirip sama Ronaldo ya, lu bilang tadi. How he evolved from a winger to somebody who plays to the center. But when you talk about what makes a great player, for me, it's always the ability to produce in the biggest stages.
Okay.
Now, I think he's shown flashes, and he has been consistent in the past 2 months. He's going there. Okay. I don't want to overhype him now. I think he has everything in the locker to probably be. His ceiling is probably up there with the Ronaldos and the Messis.
Yeah.
Okay, probably not as much flair as Ronaldo, although now the thinking style is similar. But I mean, the sky is the limit.
Okay.
But he's not a top 5 player yet. And that's where the Ronaldos and the Messis are.
Karena dia lagi berkembang juga kan. Dia belum peak saat ini. How old is he?
He is 23.
Dia lagi 41 umur 23. Ronaldo juga belum jadi Ballon d'Or kan.
He was already a Ballon d'Or.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. Okay. Last question.
Good for him.
Very good for him. Okay. Last question. Gareth Bale bakal jual apa nggak sama Spurs?
Kalau Spurs
Dan siapa yang kira-kira bisa handle?
Kalau Spurs lolos ke Champions League,
Ya.
I think dia akan bertahan paling nggak setahun lagi.
Setahun lagi.
Di
orang
extra
mau dijual.
season ya.
Iya.
Balas
Ah.
budi.
Madrid sih bisa beli dia sih, menurut gue,
Oke.
dan dia juga pengen pindah ke Madrid sih kayaknya. Tapi ya.
Sama satu lagi Pak, Madrid sama Spurs, they're partners, right?
Oh,
These
they're
days.
partners, yeah, yeah.
You know, so I think it's a case of if the offer is right or not.
Ada rumor
For
juga
Daniel Levy.
Bayern Munchen
Bayern Munchen.
juga interested in him.
Oke.
Yeah.
Cuma kayaknya Pak kalau dari sistem ya, he would especially when we consider Pep is going to Munchen, systematically kayaknya he would fit better in Madrid.
Madrid, yeah.
United, but I
Yeah.
don't think United would do for it.
Oke. Menarik banget. Oke, buat Hooligans, thank you for watching. Jangan lupa buka website kita www.bolatotal.com or follow kita @bolatotal. Thank you.